Hello and welcome to Amigos IAS. I am Adnan. In today's segment, we'll be discussing Green Revolution 2.0. Yesterday, we already discussed about Green Revolution in the backdrop of the death of MS Swaminathan. So please do watch that video first and then you watch this video because it is a continuation of yesterday's class. So what is the need for Green Revolution 2.0? We need to understand first. So yesterday's class ended with this particular slide in the end, which said the first green revolution came in the backdrop of India facing food crisis. India was dependent on import of food grains from countries like USA. Population was rising, but supplementary, we are not having the rise in agricultural production. So India was facing food crisis. Scarcity of food was there. India also was undergoing this famines and droughts. So we had to increase our agricultural production and also modernize the agriculture as well. So first green revolution came for the objective of food security and making India self-sufficient in food grains production. The objective was achieved as we have seen yesterday. But its negative impacts also have been severe as discussed in the previous class, of course, and we will be trying to understand why 2.0 is important here. So 2.0 main goal is what? Sustainable agriculture and using technological advancements so as to offset the drawbacks which were there in the first green revolution. And as discussed in the previous class, MS Swaminathan himself in 1968 January has understood the problems of green revolution. So let us understand what he is trying to say here. In order to ensure that productivity based agriculture should not result in ecological harm, because he saw himself there was unsustainable exploitation of land and water in the first green revolution, adoption of monoculture, similar varieties of crops, and excessive use of mineral fertilizers, chemical pesticides, herbicides. All this has impacted the ecology of the soil and the environment got affected. So he appealed to the farmers in Jan 1968 that don't see only short-term goals. See, he told about the point here. Green revolution should actually turn into evergreen revolution, but not greed revolution. See here, avoid the temptation of having this converting green revolution to greed revolution. Not greed, it is green revolution. So don't go for greed and don't see only short-term gains. Long-term goals also are important. Long-term management is important here. He has exhorted. Unfortunately, ecological unsound public policies, groundwater exploitation, excessive use of chemical fertilizers severely degraded the land and the productivity also was in danger for these particular the agroclimatic zones. So as you can see in Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, the rich agricultural belts of India, excessive groundwater exploitation also happened despite having Bhakra Nangal project in Punjab, but still there was excessive tube wells and lot of pump sets were created and a lot of groundwater exploitation also happened. Suddenly agriculture started becoming very lucrative and lot of rich farmers, large scale land holding farmers became even more richer thanks to this green revolution. Fine. The heartland of green revolution is in deep ecological distress. He understood at that time. So we have to go for evergreen revolution is the exhortment by uh, exhorted by MS Swaminathan. Okay, fine. So in this backdrop, let us try to go further deep into this topic. The need for second green revolution. Primarily, let us talk about this aspect first, and then we'll go to the regional balance part. Although green revolution made us self-sufficient, but there have been negative ecological impacts. Famous ecologist Vandana Shiva, she has repeatedly highlighted this problem of green revolution, and that is why we need to go for ecologically safe and sound second green revolution. And also regional imbalance. Eastern part of the India was relatively untouched by the first green revolution. Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh were the beneficiaries of or the drivers of first green revolution. So government of India in 2007 brings a scheme called Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, agricultural development. Okay, Krishi Vikas Yojana, agricultural scientific development here. It means agriculture allied sectors have to be improved. That was the goal of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Under this, there is a sub scheme called as BGREI, which means bringing green revolution in eastern part of India. Assam, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, and eastern part of Uttar Pradesh. That was a sub scheme under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So that means because to offset the regional imbalances in the first green revolution, now we want to go for a second green revolution, and now we want to concentrate on the eastern part of India, and we want to bring green revolution there. Lot of food potential is untapped in this eastern part, and there is also good availability of water as well. So why not harness this particular eastern part of India and bring green revolution? Again, not in the traditional sense of first green revolution, but also by bringing sustainable agricultural practices as well. That is the need here. So objectives of Green Revolution 2.0, obviously crop productivity has to be enhanced, improvement in more and more yields have to be there from the crops. That is the meaning of crop productivity enhancement. Improvement in livestock productivity. So livestock is also an important component of agriculture in many areas. So we can also use this poultry is there, animal husbandry is there. Good practices have to be done. Only then we will be having improvement in their productivity also. Resource use efficiency or saving in cost of production, because we have to use resources very properly, whether it is seeds, whether it is fertilizers, or any other agricultural implements, nutrients, all these have to be used in such a way that the efficiency should not be compromised, and we have to extract more out of this. That means more yield should come, more productivity should come by using less resources, and also water as well, irrigation facilities also. Using less quantities and producing more yields is the goal here. Increasing cropping intensity. So cropping intensity here refers to having, like for example, intercropping. Multiple crops have to be there instead of having the traditional cycle of India. Like they used to say, George Curzon has famously remarked that the Indian agriculture is nothing but a gamble of monsoon. So gamble of monsoon was a term which was used by Curzon. Now, why? Because in India, Indian agriculture is mostly rain fed, and usually in the past, only one crop per year used to be produced because of not having good irrigation facilities. Now, because we are improving irrigation facilities, so what we can do, we can have multiple cropping systems. So, cropping intensity has to be increased. So nutrient diversification also happens if you have multiple crops in the same land, and per year you have to have multiple crops, not just one crop. That is called as cropping intensity increase. Diversification towards high value crops. So not just going for rice or wheat. You can go for any horticultural crops. You can go for any kind of fruits or vegetables. All you can do, or you can have commercial cash crops also. So all this can be explored as alternatives that will enhance the income of the farmers as well. Improvement in real prices received by farmers. So for that, what can we do? So this is a document which has been taken from doubling of farmers' income. Fine. So how do we increase the income of farmers? There are so many methods. So demand-driven approach is required, not just a supply side. So what we traditionally do is we will see supply side, but we have to have demand driven approach and only produce those crops for which demand will be there. Then there will be more returns also on those crops. So monetization of farm produces and synchronizing production activities in agriculture and allied sector. It means agriculture and allied sectors like horticulture, poultry, dairy farming, all these have to be integrated, and we need to synchronize the agriculture with these allied sectors. Then more income can be there for the farmers. See here, improving and optimizing input delivery mechanism and overall input efficiencies, because input costs of agriculture has risen. We need to tackle that problem also. That means we should use technologies, better irrigation methods, sprinkler, drip irrigations, okay, mechanization, using more and more machines to reduce the labor, okay, and to do it quicker and faster and efficiently. Proper pest management, identifying the right pests for those crops and trying to manage those pests. Nutrient management, like we have soil health card, using the right information and using the right dosage of nutrients or fertilizers is very important for us to understand this, increase the productivity of the crops. Farm extension services means it could include government services or any other private services who help the farmers in increasing their productivity of the crops, whether it is educating them, providing technological inputs, or providing monetary inputs. All are a part of farm extension services. Adaptation to climate change, which is the most pressing issue today. That means you have to use proper practices, good watershed management, using drought resistant varieties, better use of the irrigation facilities. All this has to be done to offset the climate change impacts. Integrated agro logistic systems, that means agricultural logistical systems means transportation, storage of these particular grains, all have to be better integrated and better managed. Integrated farming system approach means you have to have same livestock will be there, agroforestry is there, dairy farming, poultry farming, and along with that we have agriculture as well. All these have to be integrated, and then your incomes will be rising. It also enhances the productivity of the land also if you use them efficiently. So all these techniques can be written in the main answers regarding how to increase the income of the farmers. Offering institutional credit support means offering money because farmers do not have enough money for their input cost of agriculture. Providing credit support not only at individual level but also on the village or town levels or cluster levels also we can provide the amount of money, whether it is banks or whether it is a village group. You can provide bank institutional credit both at individual as well as cluster levels. Strengthening linkages with micro, small, medium enterprises, small scale industries to accelerate growth in both farm as well as non-farm incomes along with employment creation. It means we are integrating the agricultural production with the small scale industries so that there is more employment opportunities. You can sell your produces to the MSMEs, or you can use the implements which are manufactured by the MSMEs. That means integration of MSMEs with agriculture or farmers will also be helpful to increase their incomes and to give them employment opportunities as well. And next component, promotion of sustainable agriculture, is also an important component of Green Revolution 2.0. That means the main intention for us is to provide sustainable agricultural practices. What are those? Climate resilient agriculture, just now we discussed. Using proper, right crops which are drought resistant. So what we can do here, what we can do is using traditional knowledge which was ignored in Green Revolution 1. So what we have to do is use the native species, or I can say use the traditional knowledge of the past, how we used to offset this climate vagaries by using the drought resistant varieties. Climate resilient crops has to be planted. That is an important component, and usage of water also has to be quite efficient, using of check dams, using of sprinkler drip irrigations, building canals. All these tanks, all these come under climate resilient agriculture. Rain fed agriculture, of course it is the default in India. Most of the agriculture is rain fed, so make sure that as the rains, if they are proper, have the crop also at the right time. But again, today this is not, sorry, 100% it is not possible because of the sudden changes in the weather systems of India. Monsoon also is impacted by climate change. Conservation agriculture is the most important aspect, already asked in the prelims exam and can be asked in mains in future also. So conservation agriculture here means, see the component here, it involves three important elements as per the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UNO. So what it says, first one is diversification of crops. If you plant more and more crops, multiple crops, it is of course going to increase the productivity of the soil. Less number of diseases, less number of weeds also will be there if there is crop diversification. And also second point is minimal disturbance to the soil. That means zero tillage is the buzzword. Zero tillage, directly there is already soil is there, no need to till the soil, zero tillage is there, and on that only you have to put the or plant the crops. So minimal disturbance will be happening to the soil in this zero tillage movements, fine. And it will also reduce the erosion as well. Third important point is rotation of crops or diversification of plant crops should be done so as to enhance the soil productivity here. So what happens is if there is residue remaining on the particular ground, it will also help in the water infiltration as well, and also reduces soil erosion and wind erosion if there is residue which is still left on the soil. So that is the third point, which is soil coverage with residue and also having the multiple cropping or or I can say diversification of crops. So these three are the important components of conservation agriculture as highlighted by FAO of United Nations organizations. This is also an important component here. Ecology farming, again a general word here. Ecology farming means using the ecological ways of saving of farming. Fine, it includes almost the points what we discussed here. Watershed management system means we need to always save the watershed. For example, this is water, for example, all these areas where the water body is fed by this particular for this lake, we have to make sure that the land use will be sustainable and better, and we need to safeguard the sea air. Water as well as land use. Both are important components of watershed management. And if we safeguard this particular watershed area of this particular water body, then it is also going to be good. That means we are going to save the water body as well as the land and the soil here. That means watershed management includes the practices which involves the conservation of both the soil there as well as the water body, because these channels have to be saved, only then the water body can be fed. Fine. An integrated farming system is also there, which I have discussed just now. Integration of various components, integration of agriculture is there, agroforestry is there, livestock production is there. So, and dairy farming, poultry farming, all have to be integrated. Fine. Organic farming means it uses organic waste. It does not use the chemical or synthetic fertilizers. It uses animal and plant waste, which is very good because it reduces the impact of the toxic fertilizers on the soil. Agroclimate regional planning means in India we have 15 agroclimatic zones, like Himalayan zone is there, Gangetic plain is there, eastern, western. All those 15 climatic zones have their own specific climate, topography or physiography. They have their own patterns of rainfall. We need to understand the variations in these agroclimatic zones, and also have specific programs or plans for what type of crops should be grown in those agroclimatic zones. So our agricultural system should be in such that we need to have identification of various agroclimatic zones and plan our agriculture or plan our farming in accordance with the technicalities or specificities of those agroclimatic zones. Fine. And last conclusion for this is green revolution has been a major step, of course, to make agriculture as profitable, viable and sustainable. But what we have to do now is we have to go for diversification of crops, not just rice and wheat, which were focused in the first green revolution. Go towards more nutrition related crops like millets. Today we are seeing more push towards millets. So UN also declared this year, thanks to India's insistence, the International Year of Millets, and Government of India also is promoting millets on a larger scale. So please do read up on millets production in India. Fine. So food security has to be transformed to nutrition security, and sustainable production system has to be there. We need to incorporate the climate change and the weather extremes aspect also into agriculture, understanding region specific requirements. Okay, that means green revolution will then change to income revolution. It will also become sustainable, and farmers also will be benefited from this because they are the primary people who are involved in this green revolution, and they are the heroes of this green revolution also. So their interest also matters, consumer interest matters, and planet interest matters. That means at the end, the important point here is, with increasing temperature changes, high temperature, variability of rainfall, okay, extremes in weather events, all these are impacting agriculture in India. So farmers have to be quite sure about how to increase the yields by using less water, less fertilizers, and also knowing the market systems also. That means they should know what to plant, when to harvest, and when to sell the produce also is important for them to understand. So Green Revolution 2.0 incorporates all these aspects. So before I end the class, there is a question of 2018. Let me just read it for you. You have to answer this question. With reference to circumstances in Indian agriculture, the concept of conservation agriculture assumes significance. So which of the following will fall under conservation agriculture? Just now we have learned this. Avoiding monocultural practices, adopting minimum tillage, avoiding cultivation of plantation crops, using crop residues to cover soil surface, adopting spatial and temporal crop sequencing, or simply called as crop rotations. So in these five segments, which of these are true? So 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4 and 5, 1, 2, 3 and 5. These are the options before you. So please post your answer in the comment box. So I'll see you another day with next topic. Thank you.